Guys, welcome back to Rachel's Universe. Today we have an exciting story time. Okay, maybe not exciting, but just weird. Yeah, we'll get into it. So grab a drink, sit back, relax, and let me introduce you to the world of Tranqvillium. Okay, yeah. So, Tranqvillium. What is Tranqvillium, you might ask? I still don't know. The events that I'm about to tell you that occurred maybe a weekish ago, I still could not tell you if they were a dream or not. They were so weird. So let me set the stage. I'm just going to get right into it. I am on a road trip and I am currently driving with three friends referenced in a past episode. I drove cross country with Athlete Boy. So I was with Mark, Miley, and Athlete Boy. We're driving late at night. It's probably around 8 o'clock p.m. It's dark. We're in California near Las Vegas. All our campsites were shut down, so we were driving to a new campsite through Hipcamp, which is private campsites, basically. So we're driving, jamming to music, driving through the desert. It was like a weird vibe going on, not bad or anything, but basically, if you listen to the Athlete Boy driving cross country episode, you would know that I was in a weird mood. I was kind of annoyed. It's just that stage in the road trip that you get to where it's like, oh, I miss my bed. I want to be home. Anyways, I was driving, which meant I had oxing power. So we listened to a lot, so much indie pop over that trip. And I love indie pop. It's great music. Yeah, great music.
I think we could do it if we tried. For me to say
But I had enough of that music because that was all we were listening to. So normally I would pull out one of my playlists, indie pop, crowd favorites, music that I knew everyone would like. But I was in that mood where I was like, no, I don't care anymore. I want to listen to my music. It's late. It's nighttime. I'm driving. So I put on my random Rachel's Universe. That's all like my crazy songs that, like the alt pop or the anti pop kind of songs. We've got Melanie Martinez, Maggie Lindemann, rock. We have rap like Sweetie, Cardi B, all those kinds of things.
I'm crazy, but you like that. I bite back, dances on your nightstand.
The music that you usually listen to like by yourself in your room or with really close girlfriends. So I put that on. It's already a weird mood. The three of them in the car are in the back playing chess or watching the Queen's Gambit or something. I don't even really know at this point. I was in my own world.
It's an entire world of just 64 squares.
That became a thing on this trip. When I get in my own world, they were like, oh, Rachel's in her universe. So yeah, already a weird vibe as we're driving through the desert. So we're trying to get to our Hipcamp site. Our host's name is Eric. So Miley, who has been contacting Eric because she booked the site, asked Eric for the address. Eric texts us back with not an address, but with coordinates. Like legit coordinates to a location in the middle of the desert. I don't know how to put coordinates into a phone or a GPS. Maybe it's easy. I really don't know, but I've never had to do it. So I thought it was so funny when we were given coordinates to find this Hipcamp location. I just thought it was ridiculous. So we're driving along through the desert. We pull off the paved path, and for 20-ish minutes, we're driving through the desert. Like, no paved roads, so rocky. We're probably going, like, 5 miles an hour because of how rocky it is. My car was making all sorts of sounds because of how bumpy it is. We're driving through grass. We saw a random, like, desert fox thing running into the wilderness. Like, we were straight up in the wild. It was so funny. Like, imagine my little tiny blue Prius filled with 4 people driving through the wilderness with like Icy Girl blasting or Stupid Boy blasting in the background. It was so funny. It was so weird. And the night gets weirder. So we arrive at the Hipcamp. Along with the coordinates, Eric gave us directions and was like, when you get to the general location, you'll see some lights. Just drive up to the lights and like pull off and set up camp wherever. So vague, so odd. So we drive up to the lights. We see a couple trailers with like string lights. It actually looked pretty cute. We pull off to the side and we're like, okay, we're here. Hopefully this is the right place. We're here. And we see a couple people like sitting on outdoor couches in between a bunch of trailers that are set up with like string lights. So we assumed that it was the communal space for the campground. So, we're on a road trip. We're in the middle of the desert. We're like, hey, why not make friends with the other campers that are at this campsite? We can be social. We can make friends, see what people are up to, see what's, what brought them here or whatnot. But on our way there, we found the bathroom. I'll get into the friends thing in a second. That's a big part of the story. Let me describe to you this bathroom. So on the Hipcamp site, it was advertised that there would be a bathroom. There was a picture of the bathroom on the site, and it was just a room that was created by stacking hay. So it stuck out right away. We saw it right away. We walk up to this, quote, bathroom. Yes, it was just a square. I can't even call it a building. It was like a single room, which was just a bunch of hay bales, like stacked together in a rectangle with a makeshift curtain. And the actual toilet was a huge bucket with a toilet seat over it filled with sawdust. Oh wow! Guys, look at it.
Is it nice? Ooh, yeah, that's not great.
It's the shaving.
Oh, it's a shower.
It's kind of wait. Oh, it's wait.
Wanna come in, maybe?
It really is a shower.
I'm so where though?
Yeah. Also, at this point in the trip, I was on my period. Was I excited to be peeing into a sawdust bucket and having to like scoop more sawdust on it and over it with an empty butter container? No. Did I do that? Yes. So that was the bathroom.
Oh, this is the sink.
It's barely a mirror.
This is the sink.
Oh, well, it's just a bowl.
It's the sink. It's the sink.
It's not really a sink.
It's the sink. If that's a shower and that's a toilet, that's a sink.
It's just a bowl.
It's a sink. Okay.
And yes, the sink was a bowl. All right. So after we finished just being completely, I don't even know the word, we were just shocked at the bathroom. We thought it was so funny. We would make do. It was fine. We continued on to the common living space area, I guess. So we kind of wandered over slowly to like the trailers and then the outdoor couches, which looked so weird because I'm calling them outdoor couches because they were outdoors. It doesn't mean they were made for the outdoors. These were inside couches that were turned into outdoor couches, meaning inside couches just put outdoors. There were two people sitting that looked like they looked all rugged. They looked like they had been living outside for a really long time. I don't even think that they were talking to each other because that's what made it so eerie. They were just like sitting there. And then this man, this kind of short, rugged, scruffy man with a huge flannel on and like a bunch of blankets and robes like covering him and a fur hat with a tail, like walks out and kind of like starts walking past us, and he smiles at us, and he's like with like a like, oh, like a welcoming smile, like hello, like oh, and we're like smiling back. We don't know what to say because we don't know anybody. We don't know what to do. We don't know how to introduce ourselves. We assumed that, we actually didn't assume that Eric would introduce himself because Eric told us that he wouldn't be there. So we just didn't know what to do. So this man continues to walk by us, but then he sees us just kind of standing there, and like we're awkwardly walking closer. He's walking away, and he turns to us, and pardon this horrible accent, but he's like, oh, like, do you know what this is? That was so bad. Basically, it was a Russian accent. That was an attempt at a Russian accent. So bad. His name was Boris. So Boris, this Russian man, asked us if we knew what this place was. And we were like, oh, like, no, we're just looking for Eric. Like, we're here with Eric. And Boris was like, oh, like, come, let me introduce you to Tranqvillium. All right, so Tranqvillium, made up word, obviously, not a real word. I looked it up. Not that I thought it was a real word. I was just making sure. Anyways, I think it's a combination of tranquility, obviously, and maybe like village or like a place to be tranquil. So Tranqvillium. It's kind of hard to say. Tranqvillium. I kind of wish it was Tranqvillium. Tranquvillium. I wish it was Tranquvillium, but no, it was like No, is it Tranquvillium? Now I'm getting confused. Oh, I want it to be Tranquvillium, but it's Tranqvillium. The added V makes it so weird. Boris took us to this trailer that I don't even know if I can call it a trailer because, so it was the size of a trailer, but it looked like a giant rock or a potato. Like it was just a giant rock / potato. It was huge with a door on it. So of course I'm tripping out. I literally felt like I was in a dream. Okay, you have a haystack bathroom. You have random couches outside, old looking trailers having lights strung up between them. You have another trailer that literally looks like a potato outside. You have these random like huts made out of plywood scattered around, all in this small area. Like the feeling of when your dreams are so real, like this was the feeling that I had. I could not figure out if I was in a dream or not. It was so odd. So odd. Anyways, we go up to this, Boris brings us to this giant potato thing and he opens the door and he leads us to peer inside. And inside this giant potato is cave walls. The inside looks like a huge cave with like gemstones. It's filled with like gemstones like peering out of the walls.
I love the rocks in the wall.
Yeah,
Like the glowing ones.
amethyst, yeah.
Yeah, the amethyst.
That's why the name of this bunny is amethyst, because
Yeah.
it's the rocks.
And it's also steaming. So Boris tells us that it's the Russian tradition of the banya. So I looked it up, and the banya on Wikipedia. A banya is originally an Eastern Slavic steam bath with a wood stove. It is considered an important part of Russian culture with Slavic and Finno-Ugric roots. The bath takes place in a small room or building designed for dry or wet heat sessions. The steam and high heat makes the bathers perspire. But I liked how Boris explained it, much better than that. His voice was very relaxing.
Very healthy, very healthy procedure.
Yeah.
So you're bathing your physical body and your soul, because it's very quiet, meditational, and you go deep inside of yourself by sweating.
So I'm standing there with Mark next to me. We're tripping out. Boris is inviting us to banya. He tells us about this like ritual that they have where like he picks up a bunch of sticks that are tied together and he starts like hitting us with it. And he's like, oh, this group would be great for banyaing. Like, you should do it tomorrow. Like, talk to Eric. But we couldn't because we were leaving the next day, early morning. Meanwhile, behind me, Athlete Boy and Miley are like losing their minds. They're laughing. They just don't know what to do with this information. They're like, is this even real? Like, what is even happening right now? And I agree. I was tripping out. I was like, what's happening? But I was also equally as fascinated and intrigued with what was going on. So I was listening to Boris like, wow, like what's like, this is so cool. Like I was so intrigued. He literally opened a door to a giant potato that looked like a cave filled with gems. That was also a sauna.
Yeah, if you like to experience that, we can talk to Eric that who got this place.
Gosh, when I say that, it's so weird. It's so weird. Oh gosh, I was tripping so hard. Yeah. After the potato, whatever, we thanked Boris, we kind of walked out, and then we were introduced to this other woman named Courtney. Courtney was like the only way I can describe the feeling of meeting Courtney is like when you're in like a role play video game almost, and then you're introduced to another character who's there to like give you information. So Courtney was dressed super basic, just like basic khakis / jeans, I don't know, skinny pants, ankle boots, like a long sleeved shirt, a vest, glasses, a beanie, a headlamp. Yeah, just the basic character there to like give you information. So she talked to us for a little bit, and she was so monotone. She's probably super nice, but the way she like conveyed information and what she said was just made it creepy. She's like, oh, like where are you guys from? And we're like, oh, we're from here. We just decided to like road trip across the country for break. And and then she was like, oh yeah, like road trip across the country, haha, like get crazy, yeah. And I was like, yeah, haha. It was so weird. And then she was explaining the bathroom to us, which we already saw, and we're like, oh, so can we use that bathroom? It was like on the Hipcamp. And she's like, yeah, well, like, we're the ones that have to clean it up, so most people just go in the woods. And I was like, okay, well, it was advertised. I'm going to use it. I'm on my period. I'm going to use the bathroom. I'm not going into the middle of the flat desert with no coverage to go pee with a bunch of, with Boris there, okay? I used the bathroom. Weird experience. Anyways, so Courtney was interesting. She was like, I'm just like a lowly volunteer. I was like, how do you get to this point? Oh, anyways, Courtney explained to us what Tranqvillium was about. Sorry it took so long to get to this point. Basically, she said Eric, the host that we never actually got to meet because we left early in the morning, she explained that Eric had moved there around 4 years ago in 2016, I think, to start this fully sustainable community. And to kind of learn how to have a fully sustainable community with like experiments, trial and error kinds of things. I don't know how it's going so far, but yeah, good for Eric. I mean, it looks kind of sketchy when you walk in, but I guess they're fully sustainable or trying to get there, which is super cool actually. But yeah, just the vibes. I was tripping out so hard. I literally felt like I was in a dream. Like I had no idea what was happening. It was wild. Anyways, that night we decided to call it early. We all got in the tent, and it was like 9:30ish. We all got in the tent. Each had a shot of rum. Didn't really do anything. But we started this conversation that night, which added just weird trippiness to that whole night. But yeah, we started talking about universes. It started with Rachel's universe, how, I'm always in my own world. And Mark started, he was like, well, I was like, Mark, if you could describe my universe, how would you describe it as? And we started describing everyone's universes, which just turned into a weird, funny conversation about like introspection and what people think of you and what you think about yourself and what you think about how you portray yourself to others. We were having some 2 a.m. conversations at 9:30 p.m. Basically, Mark was like, to me, he was like, your universe, Rachel, it's like you want to see it so bad and you like get close. And like just as you think you're getting to know what's on the planet, everything becomes blurry and you just like don't know where you are. And it was so funny. And I was like, I agree with that. A lot of people don't know who I am actually. But we started describing each and every person's universe. And sorry for the sounds, my family is we started describing each and every person's universe, and it was kind of cool. Like some people's were jungles and bright and meteors and showering, and it was super cool. If you're ever with your friends, describe what their universe would look like and why. It's honestly kind of fun. Wait, maybe I'll do a podcast episode where I get a bunch of my friends and that's what we do. Anyways, that was Tranqvillium. It was weird. Thinking about it now, I still don't know what to say. It was so odd. I'm not sure if I'll put this on Sum It Up or just Rachel's Universe for now, because it did happen at the outdoors. It does have to do with camping. You know what? We'll put it on Sum It Up. Yeah, it has to do with camping. Camping in national parks versus Hipcamp, private campgrounds. The experience can vastly differ. It can be very wild at hip camps when you don't know what's going on. Read the reviews. I'm not saying Tranqvillium was bad. I'm just saying you can have yourself an experience. You might find yourself saunaing with a Russian who's hitting you with sticks. So thankfully I did not get that far. But thanks for listening, guys. Thanks for trying to figure out what Tranqvillium is with me. Maybe I'll find out more. I hope Eric's doing great. Until next time, bye.
continue about 4 or 5 hours ceremony.
Wow.
But you will enjoy it very much.